want to get a breakdown in the last 24 hours since our reporters have been on the ground at Ground Zero in New York City, the worst terrorist attack in world history by a non-state group, supposedly Al-Qaeda. Of course, we know that official story is not true, but it was used to take our liberties. But you're somebody that joined the military because your dad had been, I guess, a Marine and a family history. But you joined, Joe, you told me, to go fight Al-Qaeda because you were angry about 9/11, and you fought multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, were highly decorated. What is it like for you now to see all of this unfolding and to know our government funded them, gave them a base again, and now our troops, undoubtedly, folks, airstrikes are not going to take out this ISIS force, the most well-funded terror group ever. How did Al-Qaeda go from being gone to being renamed and having billions of dollars and 200,000 troops? Joe Biggs.
Joe Biggs here, Infowars.com, New York City's Times Square. It's like falling in love with the most beautiful woman in the world and then being betrayed by that woman. You know, I joined the military for a reason, because I saw the actions that happened on 9/11. You know, I think like a lot of young men and women did, they were angered by that without a lot of information, decided to go out, and we went based off the propaganda we saw, and we went straight to our recruiters and said, hey, I want to be a part of fixing this problem. I don't want to just sit around and be lazy. And once I got there and I started seeing the lies unfold, it was the biggest betrayal of my life. You know, every time I come back here, it's a little bit easier for me today because I'm in Times Square, but I'll tell you, when I get closer to Ground Zero, that's when I get choked up and I can hardly breathe. I really get weak in the knees, you know, because so many people lost their lives for a lie, for no reason. And then the wars we started after that fact, the people who died on both sides for lies, for money, for these elite, it just makes me sick at my stomach.
In your gut and studying 9/11 13 years later, what do you think really happened on 9/11? I mean, we know the official story is a fairy tale, but we know Al-Qaeda and these other groups are real, but we know they're being openly funded. I just can't believe they're getting away with it. I mean, the bare minimum, our government is funding and letting these people attack us.
Yeah, it's disgusting to see. I mean, you got to think about this. How many coincidences could happen in one day? And still people, they believe that. You know, how does a building right down the street from the towers fall at free fall speed? You know, building 7, that's mind-blowing. If that doesn't make you think about the situation, I don't know what else does. A plane hitting the Pentagon without leaving any kind of wing marks, any kind of engine parts on the ground, just something that disintegrated into nothingness. I mean, it's a joke. It's a complete and total joke. All you have to do is go back, watch the videos, look at the news clips of them looking over the ground. Any plane crash you've ever seen in history, there's chunks of an engine, things like that. And every time that we've had one on, or the crashes that day, we're all just disintegrated nothingness. I mean, that's all you have to do is look at that. You don't need to be any kind of expert at anything to know. Just to look at the ground, go back and look at other plane crashes that have happened.
Joe Biggs reporting from New York City in Times Square right now. I know you've got a bunch of stories you're working on, a lot of different angles. Tell folks some of the reports that are going to be coming up to Infowars.com and tomorrow when we have a live coverage of the memorial.
Well, yeah, we're going to do some man on the streets. I personally want to get out and speak to a lot of the people, ask them that they think that the 13th anniversary of 9/11 will usher in a new decade of terror with this ISIS group. You know, I want to find out if people are really disturbed as I am that there are 28 classified files still missing from the 9/11 report. You know, Ron Paul is starting this offensive basically with social media. He wants people to put videos up saying, hey, we demand to have these 28 pages declassified. What are you hiding? You know, and based off some of the stuff, some of the people he's talked to, he knows that, well, he believes that, you know, President Bush had prior knowledge of the 9/11 attacks based off that. So I want to ask a lot of people how they feel about that as well. Also, if they think the ISIS terror threat is something that they're really worried about here in New York City. I'm very curious as to the, I don't know, the mood, I would say, of the people who lived here, went through the first 9/11, and if they think something like that is something that could actually happen again here.
Joe, I want to expand on that point that you just brought up. We're not the ones that 2 Fridays ago put out the report saying that the government believes that an attack is imminent and will happen on or before 9/11. That was out of Homeland Security and the Border Patrol. We sent you down there to the border to cover it, to try to draw attention to it. And I hope there's no attack today or tomorrow. I'm trying to stop an attack because I don't want people to lose their lives, but even bigger, for all of us to collectively lose the engine of freedom, liberty. And so that's why we're trying to draw attention to this. Clearly, Al-Qaeda, as it's operated, has been a cutout group pretty much run by Western intelligence. This new ISIS group is a gigantic Saudi Arabian-run, protected group, but it's clearly not being commanded by anybody and has just been turned loose to run crazy. But it's allowed to operate on Western social media and allowed to fly back and forth into England and Europe. That's the big tell that this is a Western-backed jihadi group. Do you think the establishment can get away, Joe, with creating a group like this and turning it loose?
Well, of course, and you know, like we said, we fund them, we back them. They are now the, you know, most well-funded terrorist organization in the world. You know, the fact that the CIA is giving them this money, I mean, quite honestly, do I think that a plane is going to fly into something? Honestly, no. I think they're going to use them, fly them in here, and then drop them off. I think that's a better chance. I mean, if we're funding them, we're not just going to have them fly into our airspace. Why just go ahead and bring them in on a American Airlines, something like that, drop them off, let them meet up with some of their little sleeper cell things? It's a very plausible thing that could happen. You know, I don't foresee another exact 9/11 happen, but I see something on the ground. I think that would be more of a different way that they would do it this time.
Well, here's the deal. When a bunch of Al-Qaeda people or ISIS people go into school and kill 150 little kids, I'm not turning my guns in because the government opened the border up and gave them weapons and let them come here. And I'm going to be demanding, and everybody else should be, that the government people involved letting this happen, that they hang after a trial right next to the Al-Qaeda people. I've had enough of a bunch of crazy jihadi scumbags being turned loose all over the world to destroy Libya, destroy Syria, attack Europe. What do you say, Joe Biggs?
Oh, I'm completely sick of it. It's ridiculous. And like you said, all they want to do is use this. The elite, they love to have wars. They want wars. They make money off of it. This is their new tool. ISIS is their Frankenstein, like I said last week when we were in El Paso. That's the Obama administration's monster that they created. They want them to run around and put fear in the eyes of the American people so they feel like, oh, I need you more. I need you more, Obama. I need you. Take my liberties away. I need police. I need MRAPs up and down the road.
That's it.
You guys can have all the guns. Take my guns. I don't need them.
Well, Joe, I know you're going to be doing some live streams. We'll have them linked up on Infowars.com. We're going to come back and talk to Leanne McAdoo for the next two segments ahead of Dr. Group joining us in studio. But if you've got more to report coming up in about an hour and a half, before Schaefer joins us. Schaefer's on at 1:30 Central today, Colonel Schaefer, with a lot of key intel. We'll be talking to you at 1 o'clock today if you've got more. If not, we'll watch for those reports on the Nightly News tonight, 7 o'clock. Thank you, Joe Biggs.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to come back and get Leanne McAdoo's take and some of the stories she's working on for InfoWars Nightly News and the syndicated radio show. This is mainly a radio show, but we simulcast television. And, of course, we have the Nightly News at night. When you're a PrisonPlanet.tv member for $5.95 a month, that's what funds this operation. That's how we pay for the reporters and the video editors and the investigative journalists and the fact checkers and all the rest of it. And that's how we're building a true 21st century media operation. So become a PrisonPlanet.tv member today. Each membership for $5.95 is really 11 memberships. If you have a membership, share it with friends and family. 11 people can tune in day or night simultaneously. Everyone can tune into the free radio show online, the free podcast, and the free video feed of the daytime radio show at Infowars.com/show. But when you subscribe to PrisonPlanet.tv, you get the films in HD, the nightly news when it first airs, the archives, almost 20 years of material. The site's been up for, I don't know, 12, 13 years, I forget. The point, PrisonPlanet.tv.
I'm Darren McBreen, and these are some of the new items that are available now at InfoWarsShop.com.
Alert the public to Obama's blatant abuse of power with the new Obama t-shirt. Obama's Joker face on the front and come and take it on the back. It's time to publicly call him out for what he is, a tyrant. Defend the Second Amendment with our top seller Come and Take It t-shirts. And look at that, women's cut tank tops and t-shirts now available. Nice hat. plus the Don't Tread on Me flag. And now you can become a micro distributor of the InfoWars magazine. Plus, get your own copy delivered right to your door each and every month. And if you're tired like I am of you and your family being exposed to polluted drinking water, get the Pro One high-performance water filter. It gets rid of all pathogenic bacteria, cyst, fluoride, heavy metals, and numerous other contaminants.
So join the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
Sank into your dream.
All right, Leanne McAdoo joins us from the ground there in New York City in Times Square. Leanne's got a bunch of special reports coming up on the nightly news tonight and live with us tomorrow, covering the 13th anniversary of what has become a national holiday of fear-mongering and attacking basic liberty. And here we are 13 years later, total NSA spying, wide open borders, checkpoints internally, TSA groping everyone, and our government giving Stinger missiles to al-Qaeda. We now know the war on terror is confirmed, a total fraud, and an attack on our freedoms. Leanne McAdoo.
That's right, Alex. Leanne McAdoo for Infowars.com. I'm standing here in Times Square in New York City. This is apparently the #1 terror target, according to the glossy online ISIS jihadi recruitment magazine. I was absolutely shocked, Alex, to find out that the mayor does not have security clearance to classified information. Just one day before the 13th anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks, that this city right here has a terror threat on it, heightened alert, and the mayor doesn't even have access to classified information that could protect this town.
No, the mayor doesn't have access to 15,000 Stinger missiles, but al-Qaeda does because our government gave it to him. But that's a non-issue.
Yeah, absolutely. He also doesn't have the ability to even control the ceremony tomorrow. Former Mayor Michael Bloomberg decided that he was going to go ahead and keep on having control over the official narrative of 9/11. That includes not inviting the first responders. They're going to be locked outside the gates. So
that's right. They're not even allowed in. Not just the families, the actual first responders, because they keep complaining that they were never given health care. No, it's all about a gun grabber and the Bloomberg Foundation running it and collecting money. We know United Way and others, Leanne, got caught on 9/11, along with the Red Cross, collecting billions and giving part of it to gun control groups. How much you want to bet? I know you're investigating that and looking into, is Bloomberg skimming money out of the 9/11 fund to give it to his little vicious scumbag friends across the country?
Absolutely. I mean, of course, why wouldn't he? He can easily siphon off that money to further his own agenda. We all know that that's what he is very good at, pushing his agendas, his stupid soda ban. I mean, really. So, of course, he's going to siphon off money to further his agenda. And that's the thing that's really frightening. If this memorial museum 10, 20, 30 years down the line continues to just push that official narrative, kids growing up, I mean, you can barely convince them that 2 + 2 doesn't equal 5. Now they're going to just be going to this museum and continue to regurgitate this false narrative surrounding 9/11. We can thank Michael Bloomberg and the rest of the globalists for that.
Now, I know that the city's also been trying to ban cartoon characters out there on the street, but I do see Mickey Mouse is behind you and also Elmo.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh yeah, they're all around here. David Knight did a really great investigative report on this, but apparently a lot of these costume characters were really upset about the fact that illegal aliens were coming in and giving them competition for these jobs. So they're trying to band together and form these unions and get the city to force these illegal aliens to not come and, you know, give them competition. Turns out a lot of these people themselves are undocumented, so it's kind of...
So you've got the undocumented trying to stop the undocumented. We'll break down some of the Infowars.com top stories coming up in the next segment. Dr. Grip will be in studio with us as well. Going back to Leanne McAdoo in Times Square. Leanne McAdoo, you know, we need to get those masks off those characters. There's face scanning cameras put up by Homeland Security everywhere. We can't have people covering their faces. I know New York's trying to pass a law because they might be terrorists. I mean, are you frightened right now because Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse are behind you?
That's right. Absolutely. You can't even wear a mask at a protest anymore. But these people are right here, Terror Watch Times Square, with their faces covered. These are potential ISIS terrorists right here behind me. This could be Al-Qaeda.
Well, I would go up and ask them that, you know, how do we know that they couldn't be a space alien, for that matter? I mean, we none of us can have any privacy anywhere. And so, again, that's the big question, Leanne.
That's absolutely right. Privacy is the big thing here. So we're going to definitely find out. We're going to find out if they are, in fact, American citizens, if they are not Al-Qaeda or space aliens. So we'll be digging into that.
Absolutely. And obviously we can't joke because they'll spin it and say, are you Al-Qaeda? We should just say, should people be allowed to wear masks? Why anyone could be a terrorist? And then when they agree with you and say, maybe so, go, well, then why is government so secret? Why, since the National Security Act, can they do whatever they want secretly? That's why our world is so unstable.
Absolutely. And you see them out here. The NYPD is all around recruiting, and this is one of those cities where you actually need them here. You need these cameras everywhere, and you feel it. And Alex, I gotta say,
you're being sarcastic, right?
It's a little bit different here than I had imagined. It's very calm and it's very quiet. And as I'm walking around the city, I feel like I am in the movie They Live, with all the signs around me. I mean, it's surreal here.
Well, we need to put a brain tap into your brain to read your thoughts real time as well, Leanne, because you might be thinking something bad.
Oh, absolutely. I'm pretty sure there's drones following me around right now.
Well, when I was there to cover the RNC in 2004, they did have the surveillance blimp out watching everyone, and it was, again, to break the ice and get people used to living under an occupied country. But we're no safer. What else are you going to be working on in the next 2 days?
Well, one of the things that I thought was really interesting, when we make our way over to Ground Zero, we'll be working on just a few little reports on that. But one of the things I thought was really interesting, the things they're planning for the ceremonies tomorrow, at both the Ground Zero ceremony as well as the Shanksville ceremony, they're going to be having a moment of silence and reading out all of the names of the victims who lost their lives that day. Where they won't be reading out any names, they don't even make a mention of it, is there at the Pentagon ceremony. And President Obama is going to be speaking there at the ceremony at the Pentagon. They're going to have a moment of silence, but they're not reading out the names of the victims. And for me, there was so many, smoking guns surrounding the official story of 9/11, but for me, it was really the plane that hit the Pentagon, because I was watching that day. I was watching and I was listening as the CNN anchor said, or the reporter was saying, I don't know where this person's getting their information, but there's no plane anywhere near the Pentagon. And I was looking, I was seeing it with my own eyes that the Pentagon was still intact and there was no plane. And I asked, where's the plane? But they can just tell you now, 13 years later of pushing this official story.
I interviewed some of the people that were inside who barely lived. One lady who had her baby there with her at work that day, and there was no plane. And then people came to her hospital bed and said, you did see a plane. The FBI did. So it's just crazy. It's like Obama said he never pulled troops out of Iraq now. Of course, he said that hundreds of times, but...
Well, that was his big success.
2 + 2 = 5, Leanne. And if you don't believe it, you know what you are, right?
I'm just so frightened of a future filled with Common Core students.
I think we need to have a camera literally inside our head just to make sure that Al-Qaeda isn't inside of there doing something bad. All right, Leanne, we'll check in with you at 1 o'clock today before Colonel Schaefer joins us. Great job. Alex Jones here for Infowars.com. We're going to be intensifying our efforts to awaken free humanity to the scourge of the globalist in the month of July. And starting this July 4th, we are going to slash prices in a celebration of true Americana, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and the Declaration of Independence on all of the Made in America products that you will find at madein1776.com or InfoWarsStore.com. We're talking about Made in America belt buckles in brass and nickeled brass that state it loud and proud. Molon Labe. That's why we have the best-selling Made in America men's and women's Molon Labe Infowars.com shirts. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a win-win. You vote with your dollars. You support the most hardcore organization out there for promoting true ideas of libertarianism, constitutionalism, basic human empowerment. But more importantly, you get T-shirts and belt buckles so you can meet like-minded people. So you have a conversation starter with friends and family and coworkers. We are reaching out to each other. And you also throw it in the face of the anti-gunners and the rest of the parasites out there that you're a free man and woman and that you're not going to be a slave, that you're not going to be intimidated to shut up by their tyranny that they call political correctness. That's why in the month of July, we have got giant specials on everything at madein1776.com. But to expand the InfoWar, we're offering the biggest special in the history, 13 years of PrisonPlanet.tv, our multimedia platform. We're offering the equivalent of more than 5 months free right now when you get a membership at PrisonPlanet.tv, and you get 11 memberships that can be used with the same username and passcode so you can share it with friends and family. Now is the time to fund the war bonds. Now is the time to fund the InfoWar. Now is the time to get aggressive. Now is the time to double down. Now is the time to realize you are the people that made the InfoWar so successful and one of the leading lights worldwide against tyranny. You don't stand behind us, you stand right beside us. And I salute all of you on this July 4th, 2014, and going forward in the month of July and onward. This is about freedom worldwide and that desire for human dignity and self-determination that beats in the human breast. We are brothers and sisters together in the true spirit of liberty and the animating contest of liberty. And so I quote in closing the great Thomas Jefferson that I have sworn on the altar of God resistance against every form of tyranny. And never forget, if you are watching or listening to this transmission, you are the resistance.